Well, good morning, everybody. It sounds wonderful to hear you say that. I welcome you to worship at St. Peter's United Church of Christ, a place where you're always welcome, a faith home for you to come and grow and build your family and know that you have a place not only in this community but in God's community as well. So welcome, and if you're here for the first time, we especially welcome you today and are grateful that you're here among us. I have some very exciting news for you, but I think it would be better if Alan Utek gave that message, and he's right over here. You do have exciting news, correct?
Good morning. I want to start by introducing my fellow committee members that were on the search committee. Paula DeSchmidt, Karen Thiessen, Angie Mertens, Jackie Plageman, Jody Odekirk, Rachel Healer, Judy Meisowitz, Kathy Robb, Marianne Richter, Mary Beth Woods, and our leader, Randy Ohm. Let's have a round of applause for them.
Indeed.
This past Tuesday, the search committee presented to the consistory our unanimous candidate to be our settled pastor. Her name is Reverend Nicole Herta. She's Reverend Kim Henning's daughter. Let me give a little history. The search committee started in June of 2021. We looked at 12 profiles. We had our first interview with Reverend Nicole on June 12th of this year and a second interview last Sunday. We had an advantage with Nicole because she doesn't have a church presently, so we were able to have her here and talk and give a service on July 17th. I hope some of you remember that. If not, it's on our YouTube channel, and you can go there and watch it again. She's also done a service at First Congregational in Plymouth, and she's again giving a service there today, so those should be available online too. So the consistory met this past Tuesday, and they unanimously approved presenting Reverend Nicole Herta to you, the congregation, on October 2nd to vote on whether or not she will be our next settled pastor. This congregational meeting will take place after the service that day. Because this is happening so fast, we will first have an introduction to Nicole in next week's eyewitness, next week's bulletin, and in the lamplighter. If anyone's interested in seeing Nicole's profile, there are some in the church office. Just go and ask Diane or myself, and we can get you a copy of that. And for those of you with inquisitive minds that do some research on Nicole, yes, she just graduated from the seminary at Eden Theological. But with her vast experience as a pastor's kid and her work with youth and disability ministries, we feel that she's the perfect fit for us. So our schedule is, we'll announce it today and next Sunday that we vote on Reverend Nicole Herta to be our next settled pastor on October 2nd after the service. Also next Sunday, Nicole will be here for a meet and greet after the service. We'll have an opportunity for her to introduce herself, and we'll have some snacks later on. Then she will perform the service on October 2nd, and we will take a vote after that service. This will give her a lot of time to have a start date and to get ready for the holiday season, so that's kind of why we're rushing this. If you have any questions, talk to me or to any of the consistory members or the search committee members. We will certainly miss Jim. And I also want to thank the Abundance Committee for the great job yesterday. It was a fantastic event, and I'm glad to see everybody was there, and Nicole was there, so you maybe had a chance to meet her. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for all your work in bringing us to this point. It's a very important moment in the life of our congregation. we'll remember that whoever is our settled minister is not the only one that does ministry in this church. We are the church, and we have been looking for someone to come join us in our ministry to the world, and we believe that we have a good fit, somebody that I'm excited about coming and leading this congregation. Of course, I'll miss you more than I can tell you, but we'll have some time to say our goodbyes, and our measure of success of this interim ministry will largely be dependent upon our ability to successfully embrace someone new and to reflect on who we are and all that we've accomplished. And we'll be doing that in the weeks to come. So I applaud the work that the committee has done. It is one that takes a lot of time, commitment, and effort, and they deserve your praise. Well, if you are able, would you please stand with me for our call to worship? If you have come today with cares and concerns, know that you are in the right place. You don't have to be perfect here. In fact, none of us ever are. We gather not out of our own merit, but simply because of the good grace of a loving God. Thank you, friends. How about we sing hymn number 504, Just a Closer Walk with Thee. You sing that song. Why don't you take a look around you and see who's here and greet them in the name of Christ. good to have them back, isn't it? It's been too long. Kids, would you join me up here for a moment? And did you all find Petros today? You know, Petros is here. Took me a long time to find him. But did you all see him? He's right up to the right of that pumpkin there. So, hi. Come on up, honey. Come on. Come on. How about we get the little ones? Let's get the little ones right up front here. Yeah, the little ones. So, one day, Jesus was talking with his best friends, the disciples. And he said to them, you know, if you're going to build a house, you don't want to build it on sand where the wind can come and blow it and water can wash it away. You need to build that house on a firm foundation. He said, you need to build it on rock. Because if you build a house on rock, nothing's going to blow it away. And I thought, that's a pretty good idea. We should all build a very firm foundation. So I thought we would try something. Let's have some of you stand over here and some of you stand here, and we'll let this be open. So let's part the Red Sea here. Come up here, honey. And I want you to, let's do this. And you step right over here, honey. Right here. Because I'm going to let you be can you take a block? Take one of those blocks and let's build a tower. Okay? Go ahead. You put the first block down. That's good. Now, I need everybody to build a block. Little ones first, though. You go ahead and take another block down there, and we'll put it on top and see. We're the little ones. Come on, little ones. Come up and build a tower. Okay, go ahead. Everybody's going to build this tower. We're going to build them right like this. Can we, you think? What do you think? How tall would that tower go? You think? Well, all right. So I tell you what. Everybody take a block and then and put it on top, and then step to the sides. Okay? Let's see here. That's it. Can you put one up there? Now let's see. Okay. Thank you. Now one block. Just everybody does one block. Okay? Now let's stop for a second. No. Let's part so the folks can see it. Let's part and let's show them our tower. Okay? Now who hasn't put a block? Oh, wow. It might. Okay. It's starting to wobble a little. I wonder if it was built on sand. Go ahead, honey. Oh, it's moving. Let's see if we can straighten it up. I don't want it to fall. Okay, now try it. All right. Go ahead, hon. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Oh! Oh, man. We had a really good one going. Oh, I got an idea. You still have blocks? All right. So here's what we're going to do. Okay, you start it out. Here's the first block. Set it down. Now, little ones, take a block and set it here. Now, little ones, go ahead. Yeah, we'll put 4 blocks down. Not just one. We're going to put 4 blocks down. Now, what we're going to do is hold on to your block. We're going to build them like this. Okay? Everybody gets to put 1 block on there. Okay? Everybody. And then when you put your block, step back so others can build. We're going to build ourselves a firm foundation. because we have 4 blocks that we're now building on instead of just 1. Look at this tower. Yeah. No, who hasn't put a block? Come on, Ian. All right. Have you got a block on there? Huh? Where's your block? Here's a bunch of blocks over here. Who hadn't put? Thank you. Who? Here, buddy. Did you put a block on? Have you? Come on, girls. Did you put a block on? You didn't? Come on. Who else hasn't put their block on? Well, that's a good idea. I haven't put a block in. I think I will. How are we doing? There's more blocks down. Let's use all our blocks. Ian, get in there. Give Ian one. Oh! Here, you got one? All right. Let's go.
I can start grabbing blocks and then giving them.
Okay, that's a good. You're going to grab the blocks. You're going to share. And that's all part of, yeah, honey, come on in. That's all part of building a firm foundation. Look at this. How do we do? Anybody got more blocks? Okay, look at this. Look. Oh!
Oh, there's still some.
Well, let me ask you guys a question. And I'm sorry you couldn't see. But let me ask you guys a question. Which tower had the firmer, was the better one? Which one would you say? The stack? Would you say that too? The one with 4 was stronger?
The one with 4 is stronger, but the one with only 1 second was
It was a lot taller, but it blew down very quickly. I think that the stronger the foundation, maybe the stronger the foundation, the higher it could go. If we had more blocks, I'll bet we could do it. But I mean, this is a pretty good, I think we should leave this up.
Yeah.
Here's what we could do. Yeah, and now, how about we do like this? Yeah, huh? And up there, and up on top. Now it's looking good. What do you think? Now let's all step back. So maybe. Huh? It looks like it's going to put one right there on the foundation. I'm going to take this one off. So that one's there. Now what do you think? The bigger and stronger the foundation, look, the taller it can grow. Not yet. So here's what I think. Maybe the stronger the foundation we build in our faith, learning about Jesus and God and God's love for us, as we build that foundation, the more we can grow. Now, I know what you all are thinking. You're thinking, when do we get to knock it down? Or should we leave it up? What do you think? Leave it up, and you can see, maybe it'll be here next Sunday. I tell you what, you guys are going to go to Sunday school, and when you come back and look in the door and see if the foundation you built is still supporting this big tower. Is that good? So after Sunday school, you come and see if your tower, yes.
Did we have time to do the marble maze too?
Well, we do the marble maze too. That's all anybody has talked about this week is the marble maze. And I believe the marble maze is still out there for you to play with. So have a good time. But come take a look at the tower you built too. Okay? Have a good time at Sunday school. We'll see you all later. Bye. Bye-bye. Still standing. Uh-oh, honey. Good. Thank you, Sunday school teachers. Thank you.
They are the best. They're just the best.
So Diane did something for us. She put these collection of creeds that we looked at this summer. They were printed up and handed out, and you all took so many, there weren't any left, and she is into her second printing. So they are placed on the big sign-up table over there, and we want you to know that if you'd like to see all of those creeds that we talked about this summer, there you go. Help yourself. But do think about what you would write if you were going to write a creed or a confession of faith of your faith. I'd like to remind you, please, to continue to pray for Tim and Erica Horsch, their little baby, Donovan Mark, who was 4.5 days old, was born with some special needs at Children's Hospital, and he passed away after 4.5 days. And I've been thinking about them this week. Is there a tougher thing in this world, I don't know, than to lose a child? I want you to pray for Jan Maurer and Michael. Jan is in the process of making her passing, and it's a sacred time. A sacred time as the family is gathered to say goodbye and remember her life and all that it has impacted them. Please keep them in your prayers. And Miss Jean and David Stolting, just a few doors down here. As you know, Jean has cancer, and they're waging their good fight against that. But please keep them in your prayers, as well as Kathy Robb and Kathy Henschel as well. I guess I should tell you, a lot of people after church last week wanted to know who had made that marble maze out there. And indeed, it was Bob Horsch. Bob's over at Field of Dreams. I'm going to go see him this week, and I'm going to let him know that his gift is still giving, and that so many people have derived a lot of joy from his work. But I knew you'd want to know that. I need to let you know that New Member Sunday has been changed. We were going to do that on October 2nd, but because of Nicole being here, and we just thought it was better to be changed to October 16th. So if you are interested in joining this church, or if you have signed up to join this church and thought it was October 2nd, and maybe you've changed your mind, just let us know what your preferences are, and we'll be happy to welcome you on October 16th. Those of you who are talented in this way, the Crocus Cluster Quilting starts up on Wednesday at 8:30. Do you ladies know how dark it is still out at 8:30? But they must be early risers from the farm. Anyway, they'll be quilting, and if you would like to be a part of that, last time I checked, they were a very welcoming group. So that's on Wednesday at 8:30. I cannot go any further without saying thank you to Nancy Petzold and Judy Moslowitz. What they did with the help of many people in the church yesterday was nothing short of amazing. The event that you led to be put on was, well, as I wandered around and had a chance to introduce Pastor Nicole around, just the joy that was in the park was really something to behold. It touched my heart. And I wanted to ask if the two of you would do the one thing you don't want to do, to stand up so that we can thank you with our applause. Judy, Nancy, would you please? And Connie as well. Connie, would you please stand? Thank you, ladies. Susan Kissinger as well. We don't do much in this church without Susan Kissinger's hand upon it, so we are so grateful for everybody that pitched in. I really mean that. Thank you so much. It was a tremendous event. Would you join me in a word of prayer? Loving God, you are closer than we often realize. You are beside us, beneath us, and within us. You give strength to the weary, comfort to those who mourn, and hope to the lost. You are the rock of our salvation and the light in our darkness. You have set before us the ways of life, and we have chosen the lesser paths. Forgive us when we stray, restore us to your good grace, and renew our commitment to live lives of strong faith, enduring hope, and selfless love. Walk with us now and keep us close as we continue to pray, as Jesus taught his disciples to pray, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. And give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Thank you, friends. Well, when God appointed the Hebrew people to be his chosen ones, he must have known that he was taking a big risk. But then what was the alternative? I mean, who else was he going to choose? Whichever way God turned, the only people he saw were imperfect people. And the Israelites were no different. God's intent was always to have a select group of people reflect his character in the world and to let everyone know of God's love. The Israelites did the best they could, given their human limitations. And at the end of the day, what we learned was that the only perfect piece of the equation was God's enduring love and forgiveness. Let's take a look at a couple of verses from Deuteronomy. For you are a people holy to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you out of all the peoples on earth to be his people, his treasured possession. It was not because you were more numerous than all the other people that the Lord set his heart on you and chose you, for you actually were the fewest of all people. It was because the Lord loved you and kept the oath that he swore to your ancestors, that the Lord has brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you from the house of slavery, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Know therefore that the Lord your God is God, the faithful God who maintains covenant loyalty with those who love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations. Did you see that? The Deuteronomist says that in God's eyes, you are a holy people. Wow, it's pretty heady. In Paul's second letter to the Corinthian church, he addresses the special role that they play in God reaching out to the world. They have been, Paul says, entrusted with nothing less than the ministry of reconciliation. He actually calls them ambassadors for Christ. God working through the church to reconcile the world. So if you put all of this together, what you get is God once again choosing to work with imperfect people to share His perfect love with the world. How you like the tower? Can you see it? It's a little wobbly, little crooked, but it's still holding. So, if you were to come over to my house and walk into my office, you'd see my desk there, and on my desk is my Apple computer, my keyboard, my mouse. I got a printer in the right-hand corner, and there's a backup hard drive next to it. I've got my name plate there that a friend gave me way back in 1980. He had it carved by somebody out in San Francisco, and he gave it to me. You'll see that I have this pewter cup with all kinds of colored pencils in it and pens, and of course I have my letter opener in case somebody breaks into the house. I have books, a lamp, papers, things I'm planning on doing, lots of papers of things I should have already done. I've got the tape dispenser, I've got my stapler, I've got this little metal thing that dispenses stamps. And there's all kinds of other things I can't even remember anymore. I mean, the desk is so full, it's amazing that I get any work done at all. And then I've gone and there are some things on there, little items, creative little playful things. Some I bought, some I invented. This one I brought today to show you. This is a kaleidoscope. You know what a kaleidoscope is. You look through it and you turn it, and there's all these broken colored little pieces of glass. And as you turn it, there's just innumerable patterns that form and colors and shapes that rotate, and you can sit there for hours and not write your sermon. I mean, it's really very neat. The thing about this is it's just cardboard. I think I bought this at Walgreens years ago. It's just cardboard, as all kaleidoscopes do, has 3 mirrors in it, and these little brightly colored pieces. And as you turn it, like I say, it forms all different kinds of patterns. Well, I was looking at it this week, and it just kept coming back to me. It's just like the church. There's so many different denominations, shapes, and styles, and flavors of church. It's almost like we were a kaleidoscope of love to the world. Because none of us, of course, are like any other. Oh, we could be the same denomination. But if you go into 2 churches, I mean, Miss Karen Thiessen gave me this bulletin from this church. She was off to Iowa for a number of days to see the kids, and she always goes to that church. This isn't the first time you've mentioned it to me. And she brought me this bulletin and was telling me about this fabulous church. And in fact, the story that I liked the best, Karen said, it formed when they had a lot of little churches out in the country, had 3 and 4 members and that sort of thing. They shut down those churches and they formed this one bigger one, and they put their resources together. And it allowed them to have a much greater impact in the world. Wow. I don't know what Pilgrim and Bethlehem and others would think if we went to them and said, how about you guys shut down? And why don't you come be a part of us? They might think we should shut down. I don't know. But when you put all these churches together, what you get is this mosaic of love in the world. It's quite a remarkable thing. A little while back, I was after church one day, and this little boy came up to me, and he said, Pastor Jim? I said, what? And he said, what church does God go to? And I thought, and then I said clearly, all of them. I said, God goes to all of them. See, no one church has the final say. Not one church has captured the market on God's love. You might be interested to know a little statistic for your next cocktail hour you attend. That, and I can give you the reference if you want, but Gordon Conwell Seminary out in Boston did a search one time, and they came up with 35,000 different Christian denominations. Really? 35,000 different ones. There's a lot of difference in the church, don't you see? Which church does God go to? Which is the right church? Well, I don't think there is one. And mainly because we're all imperfect, don't you see? We're all such imperfect critters that we form all different kinds of kaleidoscopic images. And some churches emphasize music, others emphasize education, some are liturgy, others have to do more with missions and those things. And that's why the church is so diverse. Now, I'm not saying that God approves of everything that happens in the churches. That would be too theologically naive, wouldn't it? Obviously, there are a lot of bad things that happen in churches too. But somehow we keep building, even though it's a little crooked, a little wobbly. Our foundation sometimes gets a little bit more like Swiss cheese because we're imperfect human beings trying to do the perfect work of God in this world. We are the church, but some assembly is required. I have always loved, and maybe it's why I do interim ministry. Can you imagine? I get to go to all kinds of churches and see how they do church. And I love it. Now, on October 2nd, it's a big deal in this church because Pastor Nicole's going to be here, and let's see, today's the 18th. I'll be here next week on the 25th, and then in 2 weeks, Pastor Nicole's going to be here and lead worship. And you all are going to take on the responsibility of voting on who your next, or whether she will be your next settled pastor. I'm going to clear out that day. I'm not going to be anywhere in sight. But I thought you might be interested to know that I'm going to be worshiping with the Mennonites. That's right. Since I've been here in the Kiel, New Holstein area, I've become very aware of all the Amish in our community. And they are a Christian denomination as well. They come out of what's entitled the Anabaptist tradition. There are three, let's call them denominations, three movements. There's the Amish, the Mennonites, and the Hutterites who come out of this Anabaptist tradition. And I've been very fascinated with the Amish ever since I was up at Premier Financial, and I saw this Amish man go through the drive-through in his horse and buggy. And I thought, that is too cool. I have to go find out more about these. So one day, I was up at Premier Financial standing outside, and this Amish man came walking outside. He had done his banking there. And I said to him, "Excuse me, sir." I said, "My name is Jim McKenzie. I'm a minister up there in Kiel, pretty imperfect minister." And I said, "I wonder if I might ask you a question." He said, "Of course." And I said, "I've become very interested in your people, your tradition, your culture and all. And I would very much like to attend a worship service with you someday." Well, he paused. He looked at me and he said, "Well, it's all in German." I said, "Oh my." I said, "That might be a problem for me." And he said, "Well, hang on a minute." He said, "Let me think." He said, "I have a friend up around Two Rivers, and he's a Mennonite." Mennonite is kind of like Amish light. They're not as strict. They have telephones. Occasionally they'll drive a car. He said, "I've got a friend named Titus, and if you would give me your name and telephone number, when I see Titus, I'll let him know of your interest." I said, "You would do that?" He said, "Of course." I said, "Well, thank you." And we went our ways. I guess since he didn't have a telephone, he had to wait until something happened and he could see Titus, because it was 2 weeks before I got a phone call from Titus. And he said, "I understand you'd like to come to a worship service." And I said, "Indeed I would." He said, "We would love to have you. We have an English-speaking service." Again, I said, "Oh my, that would be great." And he said, "In fact, we go for about 2 hours, and we would love for you to stay for dinner afterwards." Oh. I thought, yeah, thank you. Thank you. So, it will be my first opportunity on October 2nd that I won't be here, so I'm going to call Titus and let him know. I'm ready. I'm ready to come and worship with you. So, I'll let you know. I'll let you know how it goes when I get back. And you all let me know how it goes with Pastor Nicole when we meet again. Is that good enough? Who knows? I might pull up out front of church in a horse and buggy. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? Each religious group, denomination, and congregation of the Christian church has its own unique history and special gifts. We have ours, and they have theirs. And just like the colored pieces in my little Walgreens bought kaleidoscope, they can be arranged and rearranged by God to give our waiting world glimpses of peace and beauty and hope. Maybe someday, it's my hope, maybe someday, instead of drawing lines and picking sides like we, out of 35,000, were God's gift to the church, we do better to remember that we're just kind of crooked, wobbly, imperfect human beings trying to do something, but we still need a lot of further assembly. Always have, and I guess we always will. I'd be the first to admit to you that the U.C.C. has a lot of problems. Let me repeat that again. The U.C.C. has a lot of problems. I guess I just don't go looking for a perfect church anymore. Any more than I expect myself to be a perfect person. I'm just trying to help out where I can. Paul says in his letter to the Christians in Corinth that God has chosen to make his appeal to the world through us. And I don't know about you, but I'll tell you, that makes me a little nervous. God's dependent on making his appeal to the world through me. Surely he could have chosen more wisely. But Paul says, nope. He chose you, and he chose me. The Anabaptists, Titus told me to read this book called Cup and Cross. And I did. It's about 350 pages. And if they are uncertain, this is how compulsive I am. If they ask me, did I read the book? And I say, oh, yes. If they press me on that, I can tell them, well, I'll tell you what. You turn to page 155, go down 23 lines and sixth word over, it's misspelled. But I can tell you the Anabaptists are very serious about living a righteous life. Me, I spend most of my time just giving thanks for God's grace. Forgiven sinners, all of us. A little crooked, a little wobbly. Thanks be to God. May God bless you. And may God bless the Mendelssohn Choir and St. Peter's United Church of Christ. Let's sing our closing hymn. What are we doing here, Judy? We are called to be God's people, number 580. What a blessing to be with you. What an even greater blessing to be one of the faithful with you doing God's will. I trust that you will live in God's grace and that you'll know how wobbly and crooked you are, and yet that God loved you anyway. You see, it never was about us. It was always about God's grace. Go and live in it now, and I'll see you later.